The Premier League is alive. The Premier League is back. The Premier League is everything that we possibly dreamed that it could be. I cannot believe the tempo that was set last night. I was heartbroken with the result, I'm going to be totally honest with you. But what a sensational announcement of Premier League football, and Liverpool Football Club did exactly what they can do. They are enthralling on one level. They are totally dazzling. They are amazing, incisive, cutting football. But there is this vulnerability. There is this world in which they look slightly porous at the back. And if anyone at Liverpool was umming and ahhing, maybe considering, maybe thinking that Liverpool didn't necessarily need to do something rather spectacular in the transfer market still from this point, then I think that those fears are alleviated. If you are a Liverpool fan, you've got to be over the moon with that. You really have. It was exactly what you wanted it to be, really. Little bit of drama, little bit of jeopardy. Huge amounts of passion, huge amounts of spirit in the squad, and ultimately you did what you needed to do. So I am overall very impressed with Liverpool, but I do think that we have seen a slight vulnerability that could suggest that there is a little bit of jeopardy around this Premier League title race. Very, very exciting stuff, that is for sure. Can I ask you, by the way, could you please give this stream a like? It really does help me out. And I love the idea of going live on Saturday mornings like this. If we can kind of build it up into a thing, I can see myself doing it every week. It feels like a really good time to go live. We can talk about the football ahead. We can talk about the significance of the fixtures coming up. And basically, I've got Premier League fever. So I'm just desperate to talk about it. So excited that we are properly underway. And on a Saturday morning, off the back of what we witnessed last night, I mean, it was fairly special, wasn't it? Because it ended up being sort of Liverpool's forgotten man. You know, the man that they signed last year for what, a £10 million punt. That's what Chiesa was. And, you know, he came on as a sub. Nobody's really been speaking about him. You think about everything that we've said about Liverpool this summer. Liverpool have been the hot topic. Liverpool have been the point this summer. Liverpool have been the focus of basically everything this summer. And I don't think anyone's ever said the words Federico or Chiesa or Federico Chiesa. I don't think it's happened. I don't think people have been talking about him. I don't think he's been on anyone's radar. I feel like what Liverpool have been doing, all the focus, we've obviously waxed lyrical about the brilliance of Mohamed Salah. We've spoken about the pitfalls of AFCON. We've spoken about the brilliance of making him sign up. We've obviously focused on Hugo Ekitike. What can he bring into the Premier League? Can he do it in the Premier League? And my God, he looks a threat, doesn't he? My God, he looks a threat. People will talk about him being wasteful. But that goal, the way that he sort of rode his luck, cool finish, excellent goal. Obviously involved far more than that as well. But it was Federico Chiesa, the man that was signed last year, who scored like the most explosive half volley in the most dramatic of circumstances. It was exactly what Liverpool needed. It was a tonic that they needed. And do you know what? The roar from the crowd. Have you seen the footage? Have you seen that geezer start celebrating and his mate pulls his trousers down? Like, you just know that it's that sort of moment. It felt like a coming-of-age moment. That kind of goal, I mean, it sounds slightly dramatic, but do you believe that something can be season-defining on moment one, week one, game week one? Can something be season-defining? And I guarantee you this, when you think about what Liverpool did yesterday against a very good manager, against a very good team in Bournemouth, once Arne Slot gets this Liverpool team playing in the way that he wants them to play, once they are Slot's finished product, once he has completed his rebuild, what are they going to be like? Like, I reckon if you're a fan of Man City, Arsenal, even me, right, I've got an outside belief, hope, optimistic approach that we can somehow win the Premier League. If you have any ambition to winning the Premier League, I think you're looking at that game and you're sort of going, maybe there is a vulnerability to this Liverpool team. Maybe there is a world where this Liverpool team could be got at. You know, the way that Semenyo just ran through the heart of the defence, ran the length of the pitch at Anfield. I mean, that's a moment, isn't it? And you know what? There was some links that Liverpool could have signed him. There were some links that Liverpool could have signed Semenyo, weren't there? I'm sure that he was linked with Liverpool last year. And ultimately, they decided against it. And when you see the kind of performance that he puts in, when you look at the kind of player that he is, I mean, I think it's fair to say that Semenyo is Semenyo the best player outside of the top six? Is he? I mean, who else is it if it's not him? Some would argue Bruno Fernandes. Some would argue Jared Bowen. Some would argue Lucas Paqueta. I feel like it is Semenyo. Obviously, I suppose it could be the Palace boys, Wharton, Eze, Guehi. But generally speaking, I feel like he is just a real gem of a player, Semenyo. And it feels to me like he is destined for true greatness. He is destined for something massive to happen to him in the transfer market very, very soon, because that's the kind of player that he is. But from a Liverpool perspective yesterday, I think it kind of went to plan. It kind of went to plan. And from Arne Slot's perspective, bear with me on this one, but I have a theory that suggests that this is perfect for Arne Slot. Everything is perfect for Arne Slot, because not only did his team get the 3 points, the 3 points that they desperately need. The forgotten man, Federico Chiesa, is the hero. Mohamed Salah is on the score sheet. New boy Hugo Ekitike on the score sheet. Cody Gakpo scored a wonderful goal. I tell you what, there's no stopping Cody Gakpo. He's like his Dutch compatriot. You know the thing that we say about Arjen Robben? You know what he's going to do? He's going to dummy it, he's going to cut in, he's going to ping it with his left. Nothing he can do. Cody Gakpo's a bit like that, isn't he? Once he cuts in on his right foot, dummies a shot, you basically know that the next shot's going to end up in the back of the net. Really ruthless player. Excellent player. So you've got all of the positives. And I kind of think that the negatives for Slot can be portrayed as positives. Now, bear with me on this, because I think that on some level he could do with Liverpool looking slightly porous to make sure that Liverpool get their men in, to make sure that Mark Guehi becomes a Liverpool player. If there is a question mark of Liverpool signing another midfielder, maybe it now happens, because their midfield did look a little bit lacking in a robust quality. You know, I just think that he's brilliant. And I can see here, by the way, thank you to everybody for tuning in, but 55% of you agree with me that Semenyo is the best player outside of the top six. I think that you are completely correct. I think that, you can make arguments. Eze is obviously the contender. And I might even angle for Eze. But when you see what he's doing at the moment, when you think about the player that Semenyo was last year, when you look at the big moments, scoring big goals away at Anfield, running the length of the pitch, I mean, it's unreal. And do you know what we need to do? I don't think this is going to be highlighted enough. We need to talk about Mohamed Salah. Do you know what that goal represented yesterday? Like, do you know when Salah cut in, pinged it into the back of the net with his weak foot, if he has such a thing? Do you know what that goal represented? He moved level on goals in the Premier League with Andy Cole. You know, Andy Cole, he gets the ball and scores a goal. That's how good Andy Cole was. Treble winner, Andy Cole. York and Cole. Andy Cole keeping Teddy Sheringham out of the team, keeping Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the team. That is how good Andy Cole was. Andy Cole in a season at Newcastle scored 42 goals. Do you know that? And Mohamed Salah has just equalised the amount of goals that he has scored in the Premier League. I mean, that is just truly unbelievable, isn't it? And it was fitting, and you could see the emotion on Salah's face. I found it all quite... I mean, emotional feels like such a weak word to describe the scenes of Anfield. Like, you know, the roar that went up when Chiesa scored? I don't know if you've seen it on social media or even watching the game. Like, just the way that the Kop celebrated. It looked to me like the Kop was celebrating a goal that was scored in sort of 1988. You know, when there's just like pandemonium, like glory celebrations, like genuine euphoria. It felt like that on the opening day of the season in a goal against Bournemouth. And I think it was obviously because of the 3 points. It's obviously because they're desperate to retain a title. It's obviously because they're aware of the pressure of retaining a title, because they haven't retained a title since the mid-80s. So I know it's all of those things combined, but crucially, I think it was because there was a feeling, an emotion about Diogo Jota on that day. You saw the incredible display. You saw the emotive, heartfelt display before the game. And I think that is part of it as well. So it really was a huge win for Liverpool. And the only thing I can say is, what are they going to be like when they are the finished product? Like, genuinely, imagine what they're going to be like in March. Like, you know, when all of their players have found their feet. Like, imagine what it is going to be like when they are Slot's genuine team. Like, at the moment, he's piecing it together. And obviously, in the early months, he's a clever manager. He's got good substitutions, can change things during the game. And, I mean, there's also, like, odd experiments, you know, like I mean, look, I'm not questioning Arne Slot. He's cleverer than me. But Endo at right back felt weird to me, didn't it? Felt really weird. And obviously, mercifully, that didn't last long. But, I mean, Chiesa coming on, scoring a goal like that is just sensational for them. So then it passes the baton on to everyone else. It passes the baton on to everyone else who now need to win games. And it's going to be very exciting to see the impact of this on football from this point on. Now Chelsea, the pressure's on Chelsea. We must beat Palace. The pressure's on Manchester City. They're playing a 5:30 game tonight, and it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy. By the way, we have passed 1,000 people currently watching. Welcome. Thank you. I'm honoured that you have chosen this morning to join me to discuss football, because that is what we do. We are football obsessed. And I'm honoured that you have chosen this channel to come and have your football chat in the morning. We can have a cup of coffee, we can have a nice croissant, and we can discuss football every Saturday morning. I really want to make this a thing. So if you like the idea of doing this live every Saturday morning, we could go live at 11 o'clock. Do me a favour, just give this stream a like, just so that I can monitor it, hopefully spread the word. It will be a lovely thing to do. And if it gets enough likes, I can do it every week. Otherwise, no stress, we'll do something else. And thank you to everyone. By the way, click subscribe so that when I go live, you get the notification. But what do you reckon then with regard to everybody else? The fixtures this week are exciting. I feel like there's going to be an upset. At one point it looked like Semenyo's goal, like that incredible solo goal that brought an equaliser at Anfield on the opening day. It felt like that was going to be a major problem. And it felt like on some level it was game over. And Arne Slot will be worried about those goals that Semenyo scored, particularly one of them when he drove through the heart of the Liverpool back line. Not only the Liverpool back line, in fact. He drove through the heart of Anfield, didn't he? Picked the ball up, kept going and going and going. It looked like he was being selfish at one point, but that's what a big game player does. Doesn't shirk the responsibility. And being so two-footed like that, it's just worth its weight in gold. When you see professional footballers who are so one-footed, you're like, what are you doing? Do you know why Eden Hazard was so good? Because he would just use his body and he'd shift it, and if you tried to send him one way, he'd ping it into the top corner with his other foot. Job done. Game, set and match. In the bag. 2 and 2 makes a Christmas cake. That's football. And that is exactly what Semenyo did. There was just literally nothing that anybody could do. There was just literally that nothing could do that anybody could do to stop him. The defenders were backing off. They didn't know whether to go to him. They didn't know whether to put a challenge in. I don't know why there wasn't an early challenge. I don't know really why. And people don't like it when I say things like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't know why there wasn't a sort of tactical foul. I don't know why there wasn't just a tactical foul in order to make sure that Semenyo was slowed down. And it made no sense to me why he was allowed to run the length of the pitch. And do you know what? I mentioned this a minute ago. I thought I was just going to look up the numbers because I saw that Mohamed Salah had drawn level with Andy Cole on 187 Premier League goals. That's correct. I'm going to say it again because it is a ridiculous achievement that, because of the emotion and because of the events of last night at Anfield, I don't think people are going to talk about. Mohamed Salah has drawn level with Andy Cole on 187 Premier League goals. Do you know how iconic that is? Oh my giddy gosh. DISCO. Do you know what this could mean? Mohamed Salah is going to overtake Wayne Rooney in the Premier League goal scorers charts. He's going to overtake Wayne Rooney. And if he gets Rooney, he probably gets Kane. Shearer could... you're not writing Mohamed Salah off, but there is a world where that could happen. And do you know what could happen? This is something massive that I'm about to say here. I don't think that this will happen. I think this is probably very difficult to even process and see as a real thing. But imagine a world where Mohamed Salah scores goal after goal after goal and ends up somehow accruing the insurmountable tally that was set by Ian Rush. Ian Rush is Liverpool's top ever goal scorer. He scored so many goals for Liverpool that Ian Rush will never be caught. It is the impossible target. It's like going invincible, conceding 15 goals. Ian Rush at Liverpool, untouchable. I bet Mohamed Salah thinks he can do it. I've just had a look in the chat, by the way. A lot of people are talking about a handball. There is absolutely no way that was not a handball. There is no way that was not a handball, and it totally should have been given. I'm very surprised that it wasn't looked at properly. I'm very surprised that the decision was made, but ultimately it was shocking. The handball on the halfway line. It was poor. It's obvious that it should have. It's obvious that it should have been given. But when it was sort of scooped, I have no idea. And people always want to talk about VAR, but stopping Ekitike running through like that is just appalling. Like, it's just appalling. I don't understand how, and everybody wants to talk about VAR and everybody wants to slander VAR, and don't get me wrong, I am president and co-founder of the Anti-VAR Society. If you would like to be in my Anti-VAR Society, simply get in touch with me, because I am starting a movement, because I am so passionately anti-VAR. I hate everything that it represents, I hate what it's done to the game, and I hate those who created it. But I feel like what we do when we talk about VAR is not talk about referees. And I don't understand why referees are being so cowardly that they cannot make brave decisions. Like, why are they not making proper decisions? It's truly, truly ridiculous. And, you know, luckily, it didn't really have a major impact, because you don't want things like that. And when you've got somebody like Arne Slot, when you've got Mohamed Salah, who is like the top goal scorer of any player in game week 1. You know, he loves the start of the season, doesn't he? But ultimately it was poor. But for Liverpool, they got the 3 points. They are the champions. They are the champions for a reason. And yes, they have problems. They do have some problems at the back. But I mean, overall, it was just what they needed it to be. It was just what they needed it to be. And it's going to be very interesting now to see how they go forward from here. Because if you are a Liverpool fan, what you can guarantee is goals galore, right? You have an abundance, you're top heavy. But do you think Arne Slot is saying to his board, I need Guehi? Or you kind of wonder about the midfield as well. You kind of wonder about the midfield because, like, Curtis Jones, I rate so highly. I love Curtis Jones. I think he's a really good player, Jones. And in fact, Jones or Wharton, depending on who has a better season this year, would be in my England team. I think that position in the England side is so important, and I think that Curtis Jones could be the answer to it. Like, I really do. I think he's an excellent player. I love how sort of scouse he is. Like, you know, I think every club needs someone like that. And do you remember what Curtis Jones was like when Trent Alexander-Arnold was crying on the bus? Do you remember that, when he said it was for the cameras and all that? I was like, that is just such a proper scouse geezer. And I really like him. And I think you need players like that in a team. But where was he? In that exact moment, where was he? Like, Semenyo cannot charge through your team in that circumstance like that. It's totally unacceptable. It really is. But, I mean, the game will forever be remembered for, I mean, Chiesa's got, I feel like when the ball fell to Gakpo in that space on the left-hand side, and he sort of made a pig's ear of the shot, I think everyone kind of went, well, that's it. But the ball came back in. Then the keeper made a mess of it. Oh, boy, Petrovic, man. He really did make a mess of it. The Bournemouth defenders got in their way. It was messy. It was ugly. It was in front of the cop. There was expectation. Suddenly, bang, crash, wallop. It's in the back of the net, Batman. And Liverpool basically never looked back. You know, Chiesa, he hadn't been on the pitch long, and we focused on Isak, and we focused on Salah, and we focused on Ekitike. And isn't it football? Isn't football just like that poetry? That soulful moment. It gets your blood flowing. Isn't it so typical that somebody like Federico Chiesa, the £10 million signing that needs to leave, the £10 million signing that couldn't get going, the £10 million signing that was a punt by Arne Slot on his opening window, is the man to do it. So I just can't predict how this is going to go now. Because look, if you're a Liverpool fan watching this, or we've got any Liverpool fans in the chat, if you are a Liverpool fan watching this, do you want Isak or do you want Guehi? If I can only offer you one, do you want Isak or do you want Guehi? Because I'm anybody that's watched this channel ever before will know that I can wax lyrical about the beauty of Alexander Isak. I see Alexander Isak as an artist as much as I do a footballer. The way that he dances with the ball, the way that he uses his body, the way that he drops a shoulder. I think that Alexander Isak is a true great and is a superstar in the making. But Liverpool have superstars. They have fully fledged superstars. They have icons. And yeah, you need more than one Hollywood footballer. You need more than one icon, absolutely. I love the chat, Curtin. Now this is I love the greed of football, man. Both, just really succinct, just really succinct there. I absolutely love that. From Adam Byrne, he just says, we want both, to be honest. Yeah, Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. And so you should, sir. And so you should. What about in terms of the priority then? What about rather than asking you your desire, rather than asking you what do you want? Do you win the league without Isak? I think the answer is yes. Do you win the league without Guehi? To be totally honest, I think the answer is yes. Ridiculous question. Sorry, I need to do better there, don't I? That's poor from me. I need to do a lot better there. But yeah, I think overall, like, Liverpool should be utterly over the moon with the way that went, because I think that there is a world in which it could actually be a perfect night at the office for Liverpool. I've just seen here, by the way, 64% have prioritised Guehi over Isak. If Guehi is signed and Isak isn't, what on earth does that mean? What on earth does that mean to Alexander Isak's future at Liverpool, Newcastle? Do you think he just gets on with it? Do you think he just continues? Be very interesting. By the way, the first super chat of the day has landed, and it is from Tarinho. Welcome, Tarinho. I don't know if I've seen your name around here before, sir. Thank you very much for joining the chat. Thank you very much for joining the conversation. And like I've been saying, I want to do this every single Saturday morning. 11 o'clock, bang. Set your reminders. 11 o'clock, we're going to be going live discussing everything Premier League. So please do me the honour of clicking subscribe on this channel. And if you like the idea of that, could you like this video? I just want to keep tabs on how many people like the idea of going live. Because if you don't like it, I won't do it. But I really do like the idea of going live every single Saturday morning. Tarinho in the super chat here says, I feel like we need Guehi the most out of anyone. Play a 3-4-3, have Frimpong and Kirkes push up like they do, and Salah and Wirtz roaming CAM wings. Yeah, I think I agree with you, sir. I think I agree with you. And that isn't any sort of slight on Alexander Isak and what he can deliver to that Liverpool team. I think Alexander Isak is going to become Alexander the Great. I like him, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. People don't like it when I say this, but you want to hear it? I've got to kind of whisper it. I don't mind Alexander Isak throwing his weight around at Newcastle. I don't feel particularly principled about it. If I'm totally honest, I don't think Alexander Isak has done anything wrong. And I know that the chat are going to hate that, and I know that everyone hates it. But I think that as a footballer, you have a responsibility to test yourself against the very best. I think as a footballer, you have a responsibility to strive and play for the best and play with the best and do everything that you can to secure your opportunity to play with the very best. And Alexander Isak has the opportunity of joining the most exciting sporting project in world football. What kind of fool doesn't want to do that? What kind of fool wants to play with Dan Burn instead of Virgil van Dijk? What kind of fool wants to play with, basically anyone? Nobody would rather play with Livramento than Salah. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally nobody. And again, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but there are levels and there are levels to the game. So that is the way that I see it, and I know that people don't like that, and I know that it kind of rubs people up the wrong way when I say that, but I honestly don't believe that Isak has done anything wrong. And people will talk about the principle, and people will talk about going on strike, and people will talk about everything. But I guarantee you this, when Harry Kane stayed at Tottenham for too long and won no silverware at Tottenham, do you know what everyone called him? An idiot. Why did he stay there? Should have used a different agent. Should have sacked his brother. Should have got out of Tottenham. He should have been part of the Man City treble-winning year. Everyone is very unkind to Kane because history is written by the winners. And Kane weren't a winner. And he still isn't, if we're totally honest, right? He's a wicked footballer. Arguably the best. But he's not a winner. Alexander Isak here is demonstrating winning qualities, winning mentality. Go and join a winning sporting project. And that is what I believe he should do. And basically, everybody hates me for saying that. You wouldn't believe the stick I got, right? You honestly wouldn't believe the stick I got. But I don't see how Alexander Isak could be considered a true winner, a true professional, a true aspirational athlete if he doesn't want to leave his contract. Fine, he signed a contract and you could blame him for that. Maybe he shouldn't have signed the contract. Maybe he should have had a release clause. Take it out with the agent. But his responsibility now is to get out of the club. And that is what you need to do. And that is what Harry Kane should have done half a decade ago, and he would have been part of the treble-winning Man City team. He would have scored 1 billion goals for Man City, more than Haaland. But he didn't, because he was loyal to Tottenham. And where's that got him? It's got him literally nowhere. Literally nowhere. And now Tottenham fans don't even like him. Chase in the super chat. Welcome, sir. Chase says, if we get Isak too, my worry is we'll turn into Paris Saint-Germain when they had so many superstars in Neymar, Messi, and were absolutely useless. Yeah, I don't think that is likely to happen. Because do you know what? Do you know what Liverpool have that Paris Saint-Germain don't have? You have culture. Like Paris Saint-Germain, look, anybody again? I covered the Paris Saint-Germain game the other night on this channel. I went live for the whole game because I like Paris Saint-Germain. They're a fascinating club. And you know, if you watch me regularly, that I love like the culture, the fan culture of football. Like I will always be more interested in like the fan culture, the tifos, the ultras, the noise in a stadium. How many fans are Sunderland taking away from home today will always interest me more than the XG of some mug. I don't like the stat-based stuff. It's not who I am. I like the emotion of football, right? What Liverpool have that Paris Saint-Germain don't have is history and culture and standards. Paris Saint-Germain are a new club. That's not me being slanderous to them. They're a new team. Like, they're a fascinating fan. I think that they probably have the most partisan and noisy fans in Europe. The Ballon boys, the Stade Rouge is fascinating. You should honestly read up about Parisian fan culture. But the reason why it went so wrong is because they just spent a load of money on a new team and tried to make them the effectively like the LA Globetrotter or whatever the thing's called. You know, that's an all-star team, right? At Liverpool, that won't happen because you sign Isak, but you've still got the standard bearers there. Like, do you know how important it is for Liverpool to have a player like Andy Robertson at the club? It's so important. And that is why, Chase, I don't believe that the Paris Saint-Germain comparison, I don't think that it really resonates, in my opinion. Aidan O'Keefe in the Super Chat as well says, he says, to attack on all fronts, Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, Guehi first, then Isak. I would also like another defensive midfielder. We look great going forward and we will get better defenders, but we need more. Aidan, I think I do agree with you. I think if you are prioritising, it has to be Guehi. It has to be Guehi. Can I just ask a really simple question to kind of drill down into this? Liverpool scored 4 goals last night, right? So goals aren't a problem. Ekatike on the score sheet, Gakpo on the score sheet, Salah on the score sheet, Chiesa on, right? 4 goals, 4 different goal scorers, opening day of the season. It's looking like you're going to be all right for goal scoring. I'm going to oversimplify a situation to make a point. I appreciate that there's nuances here and whatever, but just really simple. Please answer me this question. Does Semenyo run the length of the pitch and score a goal if Mark Guehi's on the pitch? I'm inclined to say he doesn't. I'm inclined to say that he doesn't actually manage that manoeuvre. It doesn't quite happen in that way. So I think Aidan is correct. For Liverpool to attack on all fronts, I think Guehi needs to come in. And I think that you can attack on all fronts, you know. I really do. Because I think this team is capable enough to win multiple trophies. Do you know the image? I want to say it now before every single team is even kicked off. Do you know the image that is going to live long in Liverpool memory this year? Do you know what the image is going to be? Kirkes, Szoboszlai, in Budapest, European Cup. You can see it, can't you? The Champions League finals in Budapest, the 2 Hungarians lifting it. Like, I can just see it happening. And, you know, like, obviously, there is an emotional season ahead for Liverpool. And I saw something powerful. I don't know if you saw it. But they left Diogo Jota's seat empty in the changing room. Like, that's going to be inspirational for Liverpool throughout the season. So I just can't see a world where Liverpool don't win more than one trophy. And to answer that question, do Liverpool need Guehi more than Isak? I think last night proved that they do. They scored 4 goals. They had 4 different goal scorers. But a geezer also ran the length of the pitch through the heart of Liverpool and scored. Lovely goal, by the way. 2 feet. Bang, bang. It's so important to be 2-footed. There is another super chat here that has landed, and it is from Isak. Isak, NFFC. That will be Nottingham Forest, I believe. Isak says, no. This will be regarding Alexander Isak. Isak says, no. He is under contract, so he should respect the terms of his contract and deal with it professionally. Of course, he can want to leave, but he has to do it the right way. Okay, Isak, let's explore this. I think it's a very interesting angle that you put forward. So he can want to leave, but he has to do it the right way. What happens if his chairman Al Ramayan, this isn't an Eddie Howe issue anymore. This has gone right up to the PIF. So if Al Ramayan says, you ain't leaving, then what? Then he has to just play at Newcastle for 3 extra years, miss the best years of his career being at Liverpool, miss this sporting project, miss the opportunity of playing with Salah, miss the opportunity of being part of the genesis of this new Arne Slot era, miss how many trophies, miss how many European Cups, miss how many FA Cups. He should miss it all because he signed a contract. You're saying that he should leave the right way. So the right way is that Newcastle agree to sell him, but Newcastle have made a pig's ear of it. Newcastle would have sold him. This is the bit that I feel like Alexander Isak is really hung out to dry about, and it isn't really his fault. People say that he needs to do it the right way. Newcastle would have sold him if they could have signed a centre-forward. So if they had signed Liam Delap, if Liam Delap had become a Newcastle player, Alexander Isak would already be a Liverpool player. That's a fact. If Newcastle could have signed João Pedro, Isak would already be a Liverpool player. If they could have signed Benjamin Sesko, he would already be a Liverpool player. Like, they were ready to sell Isak. They were ready to make the money on Isak. They didn't want Isak in the team causing distractions. They wanted the money that Isak was going to raise. They were ready to let him leave. But the reason that they are now holding on to him is because of their inefficiency in the transfer market. So now, Isak, who is to blame? Who is to blame? Liverpool have conducted themselves only with decorum. So they are completely isolated from blame. Alexander Isak maybe deserves a bit of the blame. But like I say, Newcastle would have sold him. The reason that they haven't sold him is because they couldn't get their ducks in a row. They couldn't bring in anyone. And that is their fault rather than anyone else's fault. So let me know what you think to that. There's a super chat here from Robbie's Sugar Baby. Robbie Lyle's Sugar Baby? Who's Sugar Baby? Is a Sugar Baby like Sugar Daddy? He says, do you think nostalgia shifts your opinions? Big up. It doesn't shift my opinions, but it's not nostalgia, it's history. History forms my opinions, of course it does. So when I say clubs like Brentford are insignificant, that's a nostalgic thing to say, I guess. It's a historic thing to say. It's built on facts that have occurred over the years. And of course it impacts my opinion, because the reason that today I'm saying that Brentford are almost a discredit to the Premier League is because of their insignificance historically. And the reason that I'm saying Sunderland, the reason that I'm saying Sheffield Wednesday, the reason that I'm saying Leeds United all need to be Premier League teams is because of their history. So I don't think it necessarily shifts my... Well, I think it does, actually. It does. I don't think it's nostalgia, though. It's just the history of the game. Imran Khan has asked, by the way, do you do this every Saturday? Yeah, I want to. If this hits, 1,000 likes, if people like the idea, shall I do it every Saturday? I've done it this Saturday because it's the first one of the season. I was really looking forward to it. I'm buzzing for the football to be back properly today. And I just wanted to talk about football, basically, so I came and tried it out. But I love the idea of doing this every single Saturday at 11 o'clock. We can make it a thing. Let's make it a thing. And I mentioned it to some of the... I've got a community, a members scheme. And I've got they're called the 20%ers. My 20%ers, big up. I mentioned it to them, the idea of going live on a Saturday morning. Absolutely. You've mentioned a Monday night as well, Imran Khan. 100% going to happen. Like, we'll be going live loads. So do me a favour, click subscribe so that when I go live, you get the notification. But yeah, it's going to be happening an awful lot. So please do. Please do. There's also a super chat that's landed here, and it's from Daniel M, who says, we need more Wirtz. Kirkes was... I mean, do you know what's going to happen this year? I honestly believe that Florian Wirtz will be fine. Look, I know people are expecting more, but people need to calm down. But I still think Andy Robertson is Liverpool's best left-back. I still believe that Andy Robertson is undoubtedly Liverpool's best left-back. Like, people have been very quick to be snide about Andy Robertson, don't you think? Like, Andy Robertson was undoubtedly Liverpool's... In fact, Andy Robertson is Liverpool's best ever left-back in the history of the club, in the Premier League era. Andy Robertson is undoubted. Like, he's far better, isn't he? Far better than, I don't know, John Arnorisa or whatever. Like, far better. So I think that people have been very quick to go, this geezer's replaced by Kirkes. Kirkes isn't fit yet to lace Andy Robertson's boots. They don't play the same sport at the moment. Andy Robertson is Liverpool's best ever Premier League left-back in one of their greatest ever eras. Champions League final after Champions League final, Premier League title after Premier League title, Champions League one. Like, I think people have gone crazy. I think people have gone absolutely crazy. I've seen it happen loads and loads, though. Seems to be like a new toy thing. People seem to get very excited. Like, I don't know. You know when Lampard had, I don't know, like 2013, 2014 Lampard. People were like, oh yeah, he's done. Can you shut up? He's our best ever player. What are you on about? You know, Branislav Ivanovic had a slightly rocky opening day of the season, and people are like, he needs to get out of the team. I'm like, Branislav Ivanovic is a Chelsea icon, you moron. And this is how I feel about Andy Robertson, really. I just believe that Andy Robertson is far and away the best Liverpool left-back of all time, Premier League era. Another super chat has landed, by the way, from Hakai, who says, hi, mate. Oh, I lost it. Oh, no, I've got it. Don't worry. Crisis averted. Hi, mate. This might sound crazy, but I just met you. Okay, right. This is crazy. But what if we don't sign Isak? Ekitike has been crazy, and grab a centre back, DM, and left winger instead. 3 signings. I don't think that's likely. Hakai. I can see you not signing Isak. I can see you signing the centre back. A central midfielder is an interesting one, but Gravenberch will do the job. Endo's still at the club. Like, I don't think it's essential. I feel like Guehi is the essential one, because not only with Guehi are you signing like a position where you need a player, but with Guehi you're signing a bargain. What did Chelsea call it? The Chelsea's directors call it a market opportunity. Guehi is a market opportunity. Guehi is England's best left back by a country mile. The best left back that England have is Mark Guehi, and you can sign him for 30 million quid. So Hakai, hey mate, I just met you. So that would be my thoughts on that. But no, I don't think you need to start signing the way that you were signing there. You seem to see it as a little bit too many signings, in my opinion. I don't think that will happen. I really don't think that will happen. But I guess we shall see. What about the rest of the Premier League? How do you see the rest of the Premier League going today? I mean, it's incredibly exciting. The fixtures that we have in mind, it's going to be huge. The Aston Villa versus Newcastle lineups are already out, and do you know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. I want Newcastle to get battered. I really do. I keep getting so much stick from Newcastle fans that I love the idea of them being battered. So we'll have to see how that one goes. The huge news is, the team news is in, and there is no Alexander Isak for Newcastle. I mean, it's to be expected. Everyone knows that he wants to leave, but he has not travelled with the rest of the squad. You know, Elanga is named in a strong-looking bench for Newcastle. It's decent. But Alexander Isak is not there. Like, basically, they cannot play him, can they? Another super chat has landed here, by the way, from the Rolex, who says, most Liverpool fans are concerned about Isak. That must be most Liverpool fans are concerned about Isak and forget how impressive and good Ekitike is. He can play in more than one position. Yeah, look, I think, do you know what's interesting here, Rolex? And I appreciate your contribution to the channel massively. Thank you for your super chat. But Rolex, what you're saying here is that, yeah, Liverpool fans are obsessed with Isak, and they don't necessarily need to be obsessed with Isak because they've signed Ekitike. But the reason why is because Isak is so good. Like, he is so good, he is so proven. And I think that Isak, from a Liverpool fan's perspective, might be seen as being the difference between being the best team in the country, retaining a Premier League. I think you'll do that with Ekitike. But do you know what I think Alexander Isak does? I think Alexander Isak probably makes you a dynasty. So, you know, in 3 years' time, 2 years' time, whenever it is, when Mohamed Salah decides enough is enough, when Virgil van Dijk decides enough is enough, and you've got this new iteration of Liverpool, what I think happened with Isak in the team is Isak will have played 2 years with Mohamed Salah. He has become the personality. He knows what the standards are. He knows what's needed. And you then have a front line of Ekitike, Isak, and that is how dynasties are created. That is how dynasties are passed on. And Liverpool have done this in the past. Liverpool have done this from Dalglish into Rush. Do you know what I mean? Like you go from Salah into Isak. You go from Dalglish into Rush. You need somebody to pass the baton on. And when you don't have that, that's when it ends. You know, when you think about that glorious Liverpool team that did so well through the 80s, you think of the spine of it. You go Clements, Van Dijk, Graham Souness. You go Clements, Hansen, Graham Souness, Ian Rush, and Kenny Dalglish. You need that spine. And I think what Mohamed Salah will do with Isak is hand the baton on. In 2 years' time, Isak is totally and utterly in his prime, and he will be ready to be like the best that he can be. Whereas with somebody like Ekitike, he won't be in his prime in 2 years. He's so young, isn't he? What is he, 22, 23? 2 years' time, he's 25. Isak in that period, I think, is ready to create a dynasty. And that is why I think Liverpool fans are so desperate to sign Alexander Isak. And I do understand it. Robbie Sugar Baby says, not clubs, but players, lad. Love the channel. Thank you very much, Robbie. Great to see you again. Also, there is another super chat that's just landed that I've just completely and utterly missed. Oh, there it is. It's Daniel Amin, who says, Salah in tears after the game for Jota will say, yeah. I found the whole day a bit like that. I found the whole game sort of laced with not sadness as such, but emotion. It was powerful, and it was powerful and it was emotional. But it felt to me like, of course there was a tinge of sadness throughout, but it felt like there was more of a determination. It felt powerful. You know, when I saw the tifo before the game, it's like, and all you do in that situation, man. Do you know what? I don't know if you do this when the Jota story is like refocused and re-prominent. I just always think about his mother. I just my brain. I don't know if it's obviously because I've got a baby and obviously I've got a 6-year-old as well, but my brain immediately just transports to like Jota's mother. Like that's all I think. I just and then obviously that there was that picture that, oh man, it's his wedding. You know, his wedding picture when he's carrying the baby. I think that was, oh man, yeah. Yeah, look, it's terrible. It's just terrible. And look, I got a thing here from Jay Raw that says if Mo was from Europe, he'd have won a Ballon d'Or. Do you know? I think it's an interesting one. There are two players that I believe. There are two players that I believe have potentially lost out on a Ballon d'Or over the years, cumulatively been brilliant, and both deserve a Ballon d'Or, kind of for their contribution to football. What do you think of this? I think that Harry Kane is undoubtedly deserving of a Ballon d'Or for constant brilliance at such an average team. Like, you know, the season where Haaland scored all those goals? Kane scored about 30 goals that season for a terrible Tottenham team. Like, I think Harry Kane, over the years, deserves one. And I also think that over the years, Mohamed Salah sort of deserves one. Like, you know, cumulative contribution to football. You know, that sort of contribution to football that Leonardo DiCaprio demonstrated with regard to acting. Do you know when Leonardo DiCaprio won the Oscar? And it clearly wasn't for that performance. He just deserved it because he'd been brilliant in so many films that they gave it to him, I think, for The Revenant, which wasn't his best performance by a mile. I feel like Mohamed Salah deserves a Ballon d'Or. Whether he deserves it for last season, whether he deserved it for the season before, whether he deserves it for this season or next season, I sort of feel like he deserves a Ballon d'Or. There's a lot of chat here going, but I say there's a lot of chat. There's basically one geezer going nuts about Lewandowski. Lewandowski was robbed of a Ballon d'Or that year. It wasn't. Like, they took it off him. Lewandowski, in my brain, won a Ballon d'Or. There was just this ridiculous decision to not give it to him. Suarez is a shout. Yeah. Suarez is a shout. But I think that Kane and Salah cumulatively deserve a Ballon d'Or. Like, undoubtedly, I think. I really do. I really do. Don't worry. I'm going to sort out some of the chat stuff. By the way, I've missed another super chat. This is from Isaac, the Nottingham Forest fan. He says, Rory, Newcastle United missed striker targets was supposed to be Wilson's replacement, not Isak's. No. Benjamin Sesko wasn't going into Newcastle to play with Isak. There's no way that you can rationalise. Like, you could argue, Isaac, that Ekitike was signed to play with Isak. Ekitike played in a front two with Marmoush at Frankfurt. You could argue that Ekitike and Isak were the vision from Eddie Howe was to play them together. And if you believe that, that's fine. That could well be true. And I'm not going to argue with you. That could be true. But you can't honestly rationalise that Benjamin Sesko was signed to play with, or was trying to be signed to play with Alexander Isak. Benjamin Sesko, when Newcastle were doing everything that they could to sign him, and we're in that race with Manchester United to sign him, Newcastle United were obviously signing Benjamin Sesko to replace Alexander Isak. You must agree that that's true. There's no way that what do? You move Alexander Isak out onto the wing to accommodate Benjamin Sesko. Obviously not. And Benjamin Sesko can't play in any other position than down the middle. So Isaac, what do you think? This is why I love football. This is why I love going live, and this is why I love you lot, the community. I love these debates. I love these arguments. Sometimes you'll present something to me and I hold my hands up and I'll go, do you know what? You smashed me there. You'll do what Neve did to me on the overlap, and I'll just have to go like this. But equally, sometimes we can have this to and fro, and we can have this back and forth. And I absolutely love it. Thank you very much, Isaac. Can I ask you all, by the way, please do me a favour, click subscribe. If you are watching this video and you haven't subscribed, it would be my honour to welcome you into this community. So please, please, please do consider clicking subscribe. There is also a super chat here from Tarinho, who says, if we play 4-3-3, he's a Liverpool fan, if we play 4-3-3, I agree, Robbo is the best left back, but we need to play 3-4-3 for Kirkes and Frimpong to flourish. But also don't need another just Guehi. Yeah, I can kind of see what you're talking about, Tarinho. I can kind of see what you're talking about. Yeah, look, I think you can start talking about systems and what suits Kirkes more and what suits Andy Robertson more and whatever else. And of course, you're onto something. You're onto something. You will know more than me. You're a Liverpool fan. You will study them, study Slot. You will know more about the club. But I'm just going to tell you my opinion on it from the outside looking in. I think Liverpool fans, what I've seen, some of them have gone nuts about the arrival of Kirkes and the I don't even know if it's disrespect. Just the sort of, it's not disrespect. It's just the disregarding of Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson is an absolute Liverpool icon. Like, you know, the day that Andy Robertson plays his last day for Liverpool, the Kop will totally lionise him. The Kop will be a shrine to Andy Robertson, and rightly so. Kirkes, when he retires, will probably never be as good as Andy Robertson for Liverpool. I know that's a bold statement. In my opinion, Kirkes will never be the player that Andy Robertson was for Liverpool. Andy Robertson, Liverpool's best ever left back in a Premier League era. He is, at various points, the personality of the team, the standard bearer of the team. He's a true icon. And like, if you pinpoint the greatness of some of those Liverpool teams under Klopp, Andy Robertson's name is very high on the list. And that's my opinion on it. That is where I sit on the Andy Robertson versus Kirkes thing. And if you ask me today, Liverpool play a Champions League final tonight, in a minute. Liverpool at midday are about to kick off a Champions League final, and they're playing Paris Saint-Germain. Robertson starts, mate. Robertson starts over Kirkes every day of the week, twice on a Sunday, 3 times on a Monday. Like, that is a guarantee. He's too good. And that is not controversial. Like, me saying Andy Robertson is a better player than Kirkes today. In other news, big news, water is wet. Robertson is the man. Robertson is the absolute boy. Robertson is an icon. And I just don't get it. I really don't. And look, Liverpool fans who are watching will be able to tell me that I'm wrong. And like I've said, I love the to and fro in. I love having these debates. I love this sort of thing. And if you want to tell me that I'm wrong, tell me. And sometimes I'll have to swallow it. But Andy Robertson's a hill I'm going to die on. Like, Andy Robertson is better than Kirkes, and 2 and 2 makes a Christmas cake. They are facts, facts, facts. And do you know what? We're doing a poll about this. So do me a favour. Please vote in this poll. Let me know what you think. A super chat has just landed here, by the way, from Mohammed. Welcome, Mohammed. And Mohammed says, I thought that Wirtz was underwhelming last night, but in glimpses you can see his IQ and technical quality. He adapts to the physicality of the league. He can be our Coutinho, David Silva, Ozil hybrid. Mohammed, sir, you haven't got to convince me. He had a slow start to his Premier League career. I mean, he didn't have a bad game. He just had a slower start. And because of the price tag, because of the reputation, people are going to be on it. But I agree with every single thing that you said. In glimpses, you can see his IQ, his technical quality. Absolutely, mate. Like, he's undoubtedly one of the most technically gifted players in the Premier League. That is undoubtedly true. And you know the comparisons that you've made there, David Silva, you're absolutely right. Like, you know when football was redefined by players like Juan Mata, David Silva, Luka Modric? Because you know what football used to be up until that point? It was massive geezers. it was like midfields of Michael Ballack, midfielders who were brilliantly technically gifted, but 6'2", domineering. It was Michael Ballack, Yaya Toure, Frank Lampard, Steve Gerrard. It was absolute beasts in the middle. That is what midfielders were until Luka Modric came and just redefined it. Suddenly you were 5'6", dictating the tempo. Suddenly you were 5'6", and you remodeled teams. Suddenly you were 5'6", and you were educating players on how to play football. And David Silva did it, and Luka Modric did it. And I say, big up to the little man. But I think that you're right. I think that Wirtz will do that. Wirtz will be able to take the sting out of the game. Wirtz will use his technical ability to such quality. And I'm with you, Mohammed. And I think that he could. Wirtz will have that kind of impact, the impact that you were just talking about. By the way, Robertson won the poll, 59%. I'm glad to hear it. Dwidge Vasith, what's happening, sir? Welcome to the chat, has said, as a Tottenham fan, I'm excited for the new season under Frank, despite the disappointing collapse in the last 5 minutes versus Paris Saint-Germain. Do you know what, Dwidge? I was live for that game. And as much as I want to talk about Spursism, as much as I want to talk about the ideology of Spursism, as much as I want to talk about how Tottenham capitulated, on some level, you are correct. You have a lot to be thankful for. I thought that you played brilliantly. When you think about that amazing Paris Saint-Germain team, that amazing Paris Saint-Germain manager, the ridiculous four that they have going forward, Kvaratskhelia, Barcola, Doué, it's an unreal front four. And they all played. And they didn't have a shot on target for about 70 minutes. And as a Tottenham team with injuries in Frank's first game, I think that Frank got so much right, Dwidge. I really do. It's annoying. I don't want it to be true. I hope that your season goes terribly. I really do. I hope that Thomas Frank is dreadful. But do you know what's so annoying? I think that Tottenham, since they won in Bilbao, have done everything right. Sacking Postecoglou, Daniel Levy deserves credit. Appointing Thomas Frank, the perfect appointment. Exactly the manager that they should have appointed. Stable, proven, Premier League proven, intelligent. Perfect manager. They've gone and got him. They nearly signed Gibbs White, and it wasn't Daniel Levy's fault that they didn't. Excellent ambition in the transfer. Palinia, I think that's a top-class signing. Annoying top-class signing. They need a bit more. They're linked with Semenyo, aren't they? If Semenyo were to go in there. I think they should have got Grealish. I think they should have gone for Grealish. Just having that experience, know-how. And Grealish with something to prove is right up there. But I think that overall, I don't see a world where it goes wrong for Thomas Frank. And that, my friend, really, really upsets me. Because I really want it to go wrong for Thomas Frank. I really want it to go wrong for Tottenham. I really want it to go wrong for Flav. But I think that Daniel Levy, I know that Tottenham fans don't like him. They're completely correct in not liking him, whatever. But I think that they have got it completely right. Annoyingly, they have got it completely right, which is upsetting. But fair play to Daniel Levy. There's a lot that you can slander him for, but he's done very well here. Let me see what is going on else in the chat. I want to say, by the way, thank you so much for joining me on a Saturday morning. I want to do this every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. If you like the idea of me doing this every single Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, can you give this stream a like? I think that we're going to do it. I really, really enjoy it. I love the community that we're building here. I love the fact that we can discuss football early doors on a Saturday, off the back of the Friday night game, see what's going on. Every Saturday we go live, have a chat about football. Because I was sitting in my house and I was just buzzing for the Premier League to be back. Over the moon about that pulsating clash that we saw at Anfield. Over the moon that football's going to be back on the telly any minute now in that Newcastle game. Over the moon that Man City are going to drop points in the 5:30 kickoff. There is just so much going on. And I am really, really excited about it. There is another super chat that has just landed from Ejaz Hussein, who says, Would Eddie Howe leave Newcastle for Liverpool now if he had a choice? Yeah, obviously. We'll cross that imaginary bridge when we get to it because that isn't going to happen to Eddie Howe. But yeah, of course he would. Anybody, any athlete, any sporting, anyone in the world of sport who is ambitious goes to Liverpool now. They're the most exciting sporting project in world football. So, Ejaz, absolutely agree. The Guru Cartel, what's happening, sir? I've seen your name before. Honoured that you've chosen to join me on this Saturday morning. Welcome. He has said, Liverpool won't win the league without both. Talking about Alexander Isak and Mark Guehi, I believe. Only 4 senior attackers is not enough for a season. Equally, a centre-back is so clearly critical. It has to be both, says the Guru Cartel. I disagree with you. Liverpool won't win the league without both. It suggests that they need Alexander Isak to win the league. And I've certainly seen enough in this Liverpool team to say that that isn't true. I've certainly seen enough in this Liverpool team to say that Liverpool can most certainly win the league at a canter with 30 goals from Mohamed Salah, which is basically guaranteed. Ekitike on the score sheet already. Cody Gakpo, nobody was talking about him. Look at what he did yesterday. What a goal. Federico Chiesa, nobody was talking about him until yesterday. Look at him. What a goal. Like, there is no doubt that they have enough goals in the team, in my opinion, Guru Cartel, but that is why I love this channel. Your opinion versus my opinion, that is football. We all get to flex our analytical muscle, present our case forward, and then have these conversations. And that is the beauty of it, isn't it? So thank you for tuning in and letting me know your opinion. King Kenny in the super chat. I wonder who King Kenny supports. King Kenny says, love the podcast, mate. Keep it up. Love your passion for football. Thank you very much. Again, I really, really do appreciate that. Thank you. This has been emotional. I've loved it. And like I say, if we can get this stream, can we get this stream to 1,000 likes? Maybe. It's a bit optimistic, actually. It's over 100. Anyway, if you are watching this and you haven't clicked subscribe, would you do me the honour of clicking subscribe right now? I would love to welcome you into this community. I'm going to be going live a lot and I would love for you to be part of it. Equally, I'm going to make Saturday morning at 11 a.m. a thing. Let's make it a thing. So please do click subscribe and we can be doing this every single Saturday morning. It will be emotional. Just got another super chat in, by the way, from Isaac, the Nottingham Forest fan, who says, Sesko was an Isak replacement, but all prior were to replace Wilson. Sorry, I should have made that clear. After they failed with Ekitike, moved on to Wissa. Newcastle moved on to Wissa as the Wilson replacement. Yeah, absolutely. But the fact that they signed Sesko, also, I don't think that they would have signed João Pedro to play with Isak. I think that João Pedro wants to play as a number 9. João Pedro wouldn't have gone to Newcastle if he wasn't told that he could play as a number 9. Basically, my point is this, Isaac, and I appreciate the debate that we're having here. I really do rate it. But my opinion on the matter is this. Newcastle would have sold Alexander Isak by now if they'd signed Sesko. So the reason that they haven't sold him isn't because they are totally principled against selling him. They are ready to sell him. But they just can't find the replacement. And now they can't find the replacement. They're trying to say to Isak, you are the guy again. And he's saying, no, I'm not going to play for you. You wanted to sell me. You were ready to sell me. And now you failed in your ambition to bring someone in. Now you're saying, I've got to play for you again. I think that Alexander Isak is well within his rights. But Isaac, you and I are going to disagree, sir. I've loved this sparring match. I call it a draw so far. We have to have the rematch. We have to have a rematch, Wembley Stadium. Terry Tibbs says, too much is being made of our midfield. Gravenberch will sort out the whole. New players will get better and integrate properly. Paris Saint-Germain were terrible until December. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I don't think that you need to sign the midfielder that everyone else thinks you need to sign. I think Guehi is the priority, and I don't think you need Isak. I mean, you need Isak on the realm that everyone needs Isak because he's Alexander Isak and he is a sensational footballer. You need Isak because Chelsea need Isak, Man City need Isak, Real Madrid need Isak because Isak is Isak. But Liverpool win the league with or without Isak, in my opinion. That is how I see it. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Before you go, please do me a favour. Click subscribe. We're going to be going live loads. Even this weekend, we're going to be going live loads. Oh my God, I just seen it landed on me that I've missed a super chat. Don't worry, sir. Don't worry. The night is young. I will find it. Oh, Jay Rohrer said also, after Isak and Guehi, we don't need to spend for years. I think that is also true. The Royal Nuggets has said nothing. Just supported the channel. Thank you very much. Jay Rohrer says, hang on a minute. Oh, no, that's not Jay Rohrer. I've done SE7. What super chat have I missed? SE7. I got you. Don't worry. Does the name Craig Dixon mean anything to you? It most certainly does. Craig Dixon was the main man of Wolford in 2007, 8, something like that. But I don't like talking about 08. I was in Moscow watching Nicolas Anelka have a penalty saved by Edwin van der Sar as Chelsea failed in our attempt to win a European Cup. I was in the Luzhniki Stadium in the pouring rain. And 08, I reckon in the entire season of 08, I missed 5 games. I did them all. I did all the European aways. I went to Athens. I went everywhere, including Moscow. and listen to the season that we had. We lost in the Luzhniki to Man United. We lost at Wembley to Tottenham. We lost at Barnsley in the FA Cup, and there was a pitch invasion, and someone threw a lump of turf. I was standing on a chair in the away end behind the goal. Someone threw a lump of turf. They dug up the pitch and launched a lump of turf when I wasn't looking. It went bang right in my face. I don't like Barnsley. And we finished second in the league. I remember being on a train going up to Barnsley, and in the morning, Man United had just been knocked out of the FA Cup. I think West Ham done them. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to win the FA Cup. Manchester United were the only team that could stop us. The rest of the teams were like Cardiff, Portsmouth. Like, we were going to win the FA Cup. Man United had been knocked out. And then we got knocked out by Barnsley. I don't like talking about 2008, and Craig Dixon is very much reminiscent of my 08 era. But thank you very much to everybody. Like I say, can you give this stream a like? We're going to be doing this every single Saturday morning, if you like it enough, if you like the idea. I'm going to go now because I'm going to go and watch Newcastle get beat. With a bit of luck, we will make it through the night. Gaz, watching from Melbourne, Australia, says that he's loved the show. Mate, we've gone international. We're in Melbourne. Melbourne. Mate, what time of the day is it over there? Welcome, sir. Welcome. All I can say is have a wonderful day. Keep your fingers crossed that Man City drop points. Keep your fingers crossed that Newcastle United drop points. And I will see you in a bit. Ta-da!